Alright, welcome back. This is M-Dog, and we are fishing here at Old Burg. We're at C2 on the map, 2167, clip 15 for carp. This is a spot that's been pretty active, I feel like, over the past couple of months. It's also a spot that has been around for a long time, but I've noticed recently, seems like this spot comes up a good bit. So one of the fun things about this spot is we're just coming out of the overnight hours, and so I've been fishing for carp on all three rods. And just real quick, notice that this one I was using potatoes. The other two were using cocos and cream. So on this one we've got cocos and cream 16 with corn, and then this one we have cocos and cream 22 with no corn and the dip. Both pop up, obviously, large one hooks. The carp fishing is pretty slow, but it's also pretty good. Like, I mean, we have a 23.5 kilo grass carp that came in on potatoes, a 19.8 kilo grass carp that came in on cocos and cream 22. So it's not the fastest, but it is pretty high quality, especially for Old Burg. Definitely feels like the possibility of trophies are here. Also, the other thing we've been doing in this spot is pike fishing, and that's what's kind of fun about this spot is you can really do your feeder fishing and do a little bit of spin fishing right in the same spot. Ooh, nice start to the morning. So it's pretty nice pike here. So it just makes for a pretty engaging, active, fun little spot if you enjoy pike fishing, to also be able to catch some carp while you are going at it. So we are using the really big jerk lure here, the 140F002. Let's throw this one a couple more times, and then maybe we'll rotate around and try a couple other lures. But this one definitely seems to be doing pretty well at the moment. I guess we could check weekly, see what else is working, but this one really seems to be doing pretty well. We didn't cast it very far. Also having a hard time getting there we go. I think I was just a little slow there. I am using the shift reeling at 50 speed retrieval currently, and we'll do 1 to 2 rotations and then pause. There we go. So it seems like here, at least in the morning, the pike are biting out a little farther. In the evening, when I first started, it was like at the very end of the day, and we caught a couple of pike right before overnight, but they were biting like right in front of us. So it seems like they've pushed out at least a little bit right now. Just want to get that walk the dog going. And then wait for the strike. And obviously, if you don't have jerk rods or jerk fishing, the ability unlocked yet, just using, funky minnows or whatever kind of wobblers, topwater lures that you do have access to. That's a nice pike as well. That's a really nice one, actually. Sometimes it seems like those store-bought wobblers do about as well as anything here at Old Burg. But at least right now, at least the handmade jerk lures do seem like they're working. I know this question sometimes comes up. Right now I'm using size 3.0 hooks on this lure. I tend to go with 3.0 hooks when I'm fishing for pike. I probably ought to test some variants there, but at some point, before I could even make the lures, someone had sent me a handmade lure, and I had asked them, like, well, what size hooks do you typically use on them? And I think they said 3/0. And so I've just kind of always stuck with that. I haven't done a lot of testing to see how other sizes would work, but I don't know. It's like I'm trying too hard. Suddenly I'm not consistently getting that walk the dog. Now we are. Sometimes I think it's the angle that I'm holding it too far to the side or not far enough. And then sometimes I think it's the speed, like the break, how long of a pause I'm taking. Like that was too long of a pause that time. You can't wait too long to keep it going. All right, let's check weeklies really quick. In real time here. I wouldn't mind trying a couple different lures. So none of them are old Burg. And really just, these are probably people not, you know, targeting Pike. So it's not going to give us a lot of good info. The F12009. That's a store-bought one. Yeah, I guess this is a little bit of a weird week for Pike, maybe. So often the Ladoga Pike are dominating the top of the, but when Pike are going off in Tunguska or Tuba like this, on normal lures where you're just probably trolling around or whatever, that can make it where we have a lot less information. All right, so this is the first actual fish that we've caught on this setup, because I just switched this one right before I started recording. Because of how slow the 22 boilies were, I decided to at least see what it would be like with the 16 and corn, to see if we can increase that bite rate. Honestly, even though we have caught some nice fish on the Coco, I think that, oh wait, let's go ahead and set this clip. I think that maybe the potatoes are the way to go. You're going to have a faster bite rate. You're also going to catch some common carp. Now, from what I've seen, the common carp haven't been very big yet. They've been pretty small, actually, but they are there. So unless you're just sitting on trying to catch a trophy grass carp at Old Burg, it might be worth just using potatoes right now. I don't know that this spot is quite active enough on the Coco to justify using Coco on 3 rods, but it's not that it's not catching fish, it is. But it is giving us plenty of time to focus on pike fishing. Yeah, and as soon as I increased or decreased the amount of time on the pause, oh, look at that perch out of nowhere. Big old perch. Immediately we got the bite. So I think this is the one that was working at Ladoga, if I'm not mistaken. So let's try this. We'll give this one a toss. This is not a handmade. This is a store-bought. And I think these are even easier to get walk the dog on, in my opinion. There's a handmade jerk lure style that I've never tried before, so I thought we would throw it in one time to see if anything interesting happens. But let's give this one a couple casts. Let's see if the Old Burg pike are responding to the ripper at all. Doesn't look like that cast is going to get anything. It's awkward. I don't know why it's so awkward, but it is. I think getting walk the dog is nice, but at least when I was first testing the spot, a lot of times I would get bites whether or not walk the dog was showing up or not. Okay, so yeah, this is the style. It's the slim jerk lure. I mean, it's still really big. This one's 63 grams. This one's 80 grams. I just don't think I've ever used this before. I only recently crafted the jerk lures for myself, so I thought we would just see, like, does this even work? I never see it on the weeklies. I don't think I've ever heard people talking about it. I don't pay attention to pike fishing that much until recently, maybe, but so it may just be that I've missed it, but all right, it did catch something. Let's see. Is that a little pike? Yeah. So I was just curious if these slims would work. Okay, it's a reasonably sized fish. This is on the 16 with corn. Oh, look at that tench. I like it. 2.8. That is one of the benefits that you see at Bear when you go down to the 16 size boilie versus the 20 or 22, is you will often see an increased rate of tench bite. Well, this slim is 2 for 2. It's not bad. There you go. So this is cool. I mean, let's try the bigger size. Let's do the slim, but let's try the bigger one. This is pretty neat because it feels like you could hit a trophy pike and a trophy grass carp here in the same spot, which would of course be pretty fun. Let's see. So we want to take, I need to get a lot more, quite a few more hooks eventually, just to, so they're not having to switch them as much. All right, so we were using the 60 gram. Let's try the 80 gram and see if that one works here as well. This red color seemed to be working, so I'm going to stick with the same color, but let's put on the 83.2 gram lure. See if that monster lure scares the old Burg pike a little bit. There's a crucian. Yep, so lower boilie size, and we're kind of just getting, you know, a little bit of everything, but at least the bite rate is up a little bit. It just depends on how much carp fishing you want to do versus pike fishing. If you're okay with only occasionally catching a carp, then by all means, put the larger size Coco 22s and then just wait for the decent grass pike to show up. But that lure is pretty big. I can see it pretty clearly from here, even without zooming. Oop, there we go. It's not very big for how big the lure is. Okay. Right at the edge of where the greeny moss stuff starts is where both of those pike popped on. Okay, and then let's go back to what was working here earlier, which is the 140F002. think as you come out of the morning hours and go through the middle of the day here, maybe have to deal with a few more casts with no fish. You can still catch them, but and then they'll definitely pick back up again once we get into the late afternoon. There's another spot at Old Burg that I want to test, so I mean I'll do that on a separate video, but there's another spot that looks really interesting that I saw on the VK site, so I wanted to actually test it myself and see if it's what it's actually like to fish, but hopefully we'll get to do that a little bit later. All right, this carp is at least decent size, and this is on the smaller boilies. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, it's a grass carp. No black carp. Have only seen grass here, and it's been fairly slow but decent quality, which has allowed us to primarily focus on fishing for pike, which is kind of nice. If you have too active of a spot, even with 2 rods, and maybe that would be the downside of using potatoes. Maybe you're just pulling in too many, you know, small non-markers or markers, and taking away from your time catching the pike. All right, let's try one more, and then we'll wrap it up. Oh, it's a common. That's a good sign. It's actually a nice marker. Common carp as well. That's actually a really good sign. Mix some of those in with the grass carp, and that'll help on silver and XP. Both species are biting some. Let's see, what is the lure that is, oh, I don't want to change it off of jerkbait rig. Let me see, do I have something we could just test really quick? I think sometimes the funky minnow works pretty well. We can't cast very far with this, but we'll just... Oh, no, this isn't the right lure, is it? Hold on. What am I thinking of? I'm actually not sure. I know I see people catching pike here all the time on something. It's got to be something that's either on the top or fairly close to the top, right? But I'm not sure. All right, let's see this last carp we caught. Well, it may not be a carp. Let's see what it is. Maybe a tench or something. Oh no, it is a small grass carp. All right, so I like this spot. This is a lot of fun, especially if you want to mix, again, spin fishing and bottom fishing. We have about 45 minutes of fishing, definitely testing different things. So when we're not dialed in, you could become a lot more efficient here as you figure out the right lures to use and your favorite sort of bait PVA combination. By the way, this is an old Coco PVA. I mean, just whatever Coco, you know, Coco PVA you want to use, or you could feed it with ground bait and still probably be okay here. But again, I'm not dialed in at all, but I knew this spot was active, and so I thought it would be a fun one to check out, and it is in fact fun. Let's see if we have any pike or carp orders, and also just see what kind of silver we got in those 45 minutes. I guess we'll look at the silver first before we look at orders. Okay, so 314 silver, 45 minutes. Again, you can get a lot more dialed in than that. That tench order is probably worth it. Yeah, so just hit the 28 kilo grass carp and you're good. But this is big time. 81 silver for one of our grass carp. And let's double check that tench. Yeah, it's barely worth it. It's almost even, but the order was slightly better. Oh, the pike order, I didn't even see it. Wow. It's 130 silver. Man, we just made out like a bandit, but only because of how lucky we are on the cafe orders. That was actually quite sick. Okay, again, that was 2167 up there in C2. 15-meter clip, kind of casting this way on the carp, and then, of course, using whatever pike lures you like, catching those pike that seem to be very active right now. All right, appreciate you watching. I am definitely getting there on hopefully being able to increase the amount of time I spend fishing and trying to make videos, possibly even working towards streaming again in the coming days. So thanks for the support, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.